Hello YouTube, welcome to another episode of Suggestion Showcase. Today's suggestion is once again by Vulcan XH558. This suggestion is about the A109 in the British tech tree. Introduction. The A109 is a famous helicopter in service with many countries around the world. The UK is a lesser known operator of the type, but the story in which they were acquired their first helicopters and for purposes they use them is highly intriguing. Argentine Service. The Augusta A109 is a classic helicopter, recognizable in the skies of many cities around the world by its elegant lines, while in flight sharing some executive above. The A109 is also known for being a highly reliable and nimble workhorse, making it popular with many militaries around the world. In the 1970s, Argentina was one of these countries around which they formed the nucleus of a scout and utility helicopter fleet, becoming operational in 1979. In 1982, the helicopters were deployed to the Falklands during the conflict, which occurred that year. 3 helicopters were deployed to the islands in April 1982, being detached along 5 SA-330 Pumas, 2 CH-47C Chinooks, and 9 UH-1H Hueys. Initially being stationed at the former Royal Marines barracks at Moody Brook, the 109s performed escort missions for their larger counterparts, reconnaissance missions, and aided in the setting up of defenses on the islands. After the commencement of the hostilities, the helicopters kept these roles, as well as taking on the commando support role, medevac, and logistical support. The helicopters took part in the Battle of San Carlos Water and Battle of Goose Green. In their 68-day deployment on the island, the A109s clocked up to 250 hours, with the loss of 1 helicopter and no losses to any of their crew. Their survival was attributed to their knack of earth flying, as well as taking different routes between their bases at Moody Brook, Mount Kent and Two Sisters, and at the Port Stanley Racecourse. British Service. It was at the racecourse that A109s were captured by 3 Commando Brigade of the Royal Marines. These helicopters had serials AE-334 and AE-331. These were then flown to HMS Fearless, which was anchored in San Carlos Water. The ship then set sail for the journey back to the UK, where the helicopters were unloaded upon the ship's arrival in Plymouth. The A109s were then exhibited at various air shows before being tested for a period of about 6 months. In about mid-1983, it was decided to press the helicopters into service in support of the SAS, with AE-334 becoming ZE-410 and ZE-331 becoming ZE-411. These helicopters were then painted in civilian-type liveries in order to discreetly transport operatives around the country. Apart from this, these helicopters are also likely involved in the training of special forces as well. Due to this, they were likely fitted with equipment to facilitate the fast rope insertion of Special Forces personnel. The history of these helicopters is murky, with little being known about them in service in the UK's hands, due to the secretive nature of their missions. All that is known is that these helicopters had been retired by 2009, replaced by the Eurocopter Dolphins. Currently, these helicopters have been preserved, either being on display or in storage at the Armory Flying Museum at Middle Wallop. I will now be reading the conclusion while showing you the performance stats. Conclusion. I believe that this would make for an interesting low-tier helicopter, mainly due to the history in which it was operated, which would also make it a perfect candidate for an event vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and +1 the suggestion in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.